Ghosted my cheating wife now years later. She's still chasing me down, desperately begging for another chance to fix things and start over. When I found out my wife was having an affair, I went to the hills. I'm not sure why I'm writing this, but maybe it will help someone now that the events are over and I've moved on. In February 2018, I got a shocking letter telling me that my 30-year-old wife was having an affair. We had been married for 3.5 years. I had a contract job that sometimes required me to travel but also let me work from home when I got back. At the same time, my wife was making good money as the director of a technical sales company. Although it got a little tense because of my frequent business trips and her increasingly demanding work hours, I would say that our marriage was truly good. Going back in time, I met my ex-wife at a cookout put on by a friend we both knew. We started to talk, and there was an instant connection. Being with such a beautiful and smart woman made me feel like I was defying the chances. She liked me a lot because I was a little rough around the edges. After a few weeks of dating, we couldn't get enough of each other. When we went to each other's homes, our clothes would fly off. We finally got married after meeting for 8 months. While we saved money for a house, we moved into a big apartment. Following the first 3 years of marriage, things began to change. Even though I still cared a lot about her, I saw that she started getting into fights over small things. When I told her I was worried about how late she was working and how often she was going on work trips, she would get angry. She said it was part of doing what she had to do as she moved up in the company. She told me I didn't have the right to question her because I had been away for weeks at work. I told her I could cut down on my travel time, but the truth was that I was only taking 3 or 4 day trips every 5 weeks. Our fights, on the other hand, kept going in circles and never ended. I didn't know my wife was having an affair until after the fact. I wouldn't have thought anything was wrong if she wasn't always late to work and our relationship was getting worse. I thought her tiredness was just from working too much. Still, my low self-esteem got worse when I was repeatedly turned down when I tried to get close to someone. I didn't know about the secret text that I found out later. I thought that since she had a work cell phone, she might have been using it while spending a lot of time in our spare bedroom, which she had turned into a home office. Around September 2017, Kathy started going to work events later in the evening after getting home from work. It went from happening once a week to happening more than 3 times a week. It's not that I'm jealous, but she would be seen by everyone, and I'm sure she would have to fight off some of the guys at work. It looked like she was only thinking about work, especially working with male leaders. My first idea that she was cheating on me came up a month before the big reveal, or D-Day. She stopped at the store on that occasion on her way back home and asked me to help her with the groceries. I saw something pink shining from just under the front passenger seat as I got my bags from the back seat of her car. It was a bra from my wife. It was clear that it was hers because she liked clothes from a certain shop. Now that I think about it, I see why the bra was a red flag. She always takes off her bra first from under her clothes when she feels like it. Though I'm not sure why, this made me feel sick to my stomach as soon as I saw it. I had no idea why her bra was sitting under the seat. It was under the seat when I left it. When I got back to the kitchen with the bags, Kathy asked if I was okay and said I looked like I had seen a ghost. It almost made me sick, and my heart must have been beating really fast. I ignored what she said and tried my best not to show any anger or feeling of betrayal. Even though I tried to hide how I felt that night and for the next few days, I couldn't get rid of the doubt. I started putting together the clues because I was determined to find the truth. But as I did, I realized that the only solid proof I had was the scary event with the bra. She works in an office building downtown in a pretty big city where we live. The idea of having an affair took a back seat for a while as I thought about giving her more attention. I made a fancy dinner one Friday night after work and set the table with fancy plates, silverware, and candles. I bought a bunch and a nice bottle of wine. As usual, she walked right in after work, and I was excited to show her the food I had made. Instead of the enthusiastic answer I was hoping for, she gave me a sad smile and said she was meeting her coworkers at a local hangout that night. She suggested we grab a quick bite before she left. She said she needed to take a shower first. I think my insides turned on me, and I couldn't say a word. There was a certain level of anger in me that I won't describe, but I had had enough. I put my work cell phone in the back seat of her car while she was in the shower. I've been thinking about this lately as a way to use my own phone to find out where she is. I went inside and threw away the food and flowers. She got dressed up and looked great when she got back from the shower. "All right, let's eat," she said. "Don't worry about it," I told her. "Go out with your friends." She asked me if I was crazy because she looked at me funny. I told you, I'm disappointed by you never wanting to do anything together. She got mad and told me to stop acting like a child. She also said something mean about having a short fuse. I stood there and took it in. I said, "Fool me, I thought you'd want to spend the night with me." She smirked and left. I followed my work phone with my second phone. The bar, 20 minutes away, was a hangout for her coworkers. I immediately went to find her automobile, confirming my suspicions. Her car was in the bar's lot. While waiting across the street in my car, I felt strangely different, like someone was following me. I decided I had to do something to stop worrying about her. I observed her leave the bar with a man after an hour. He resembled an executive I've seen in her work. He pulled her close and kissed her. My gut hurt and my body went numb. They entered another car together. I tried to follow the car as it drove away. A 10-minute hotel was their destination. Street near the hotel was my stop. I observed them exit the car and enter the hotel together. I've seen enough. Foolish me. I crashed my fist onto the steering wheel. End of story. Nothing remained in me. I'm not sure if I passed out or went out of body. After recovering, I needed a drink. Drinking was my choice. This transformed my life in ways I never imagined. I kept thinking about what I saw as I left town. I drove 30 miles to the outside of town for peace, angry and sad. I accidentally found a cute bar and ordered a drink. I appeared flattened to the female bartender. This must have reflected my emotions. I said, "You could say that." Half smiling. A man sat next to me on the stool and talked. I didn't want to talk, but this guy made me feel comfortable. After talking, I forgot about my wife cheating and how I wanted to leave her. He hit my back after seeing me. "Bucky, you're not alone," he said. "It happened to me in the past. I believe that sometimes things happen for a purpose. Your life can improve or worsen. It's up to you." That way he stated it boosted my spirits. I know it hurts, but I've always thought things through, and he's correct. We introduced ourselves. His name is Rye. This salt-of-the-earth country guy is someone I admire. Rye asked me about my move, which I had never considered. I realized I no longer wanted to be with my wife. Fight or flight impulses flooded me. Rye understood my situation and made a plan for me to leave. A travel trailer is on my property. It's not fantastic and needs work. Why not visit and see if you could live there temporarily? I'll offer a wonderful price. You can park it on my wonderful land. You could help me by watching it. You might benefit from leaving your situation. A thought. I took a moment to understand his offer. The bartender overheard and laughed, saying she'd have jumped at the chance to escape her crazy ex-husband and live in a trailer just to clear her head. It felt surreal, but maybe it was exactly what I needed. Rye said he'd think about it and check it out. We agreed to meet at his place in a few days, and I felt like I had a chance to escape this nightmare and heartache. Undoubtedly, I did not want to see my wife again. I always stood against infidelity, a disgusting act. The revelation sent me home to ruminate on the couch. Kathy appeared and asked where I was. I turned and asked her where she went. "You know, I went to grab drinks." "Are you having an affair?" I said directly. She looked surprised but responded, "No, why would you ask me that?" "Someone from work may be involved," I told her. "Who told you that?" I told her about someone I knew but wouldn't name. She said, "You're being ridiculous and that I'm drunk and delusional," and inquired where I was. I set out to a bar to have some drinks with friends. She glanced at me, wanting to ask more, but went back to bed in our bedroom. Her month-long dishonesty weighed on me as I slept on the couch. I couldn't sleep because I had vivid, agonizing pictures of her with the other man. Unexpectedly, Rye's trailer emerged amid scorn, hurt, and self-pity. This notion is comforting like a beacon. The pain I was in made the fight or flight response instantly kick in, and I chose flight. We didn't talk much the next morning and went about our weekend as if nothing got broken. Following a few days, I planned to meet up with Rye. We met at Rye's house. He had a nice ranch, and the trailer is really nice. It's about 26 feet long and has everything you need to live in it. I took a trip in one with some friends during spring break in college and had a great time. I made Rye an offer on it, and he agreed. It was almost like I stole it from him. He told me how to get to his land, so I drove over to check it out. It's pretty, with lots of trees and bushes, and it looks like there are hiking and biking tracks close by. It's close to the foothills of some mountains, and Rye has a small shack on a hill with a view of the land that has water and power for the trailer. Rye will pull the travel trailer to the right place and set it up. In the weeks that followed, every time I tried to get Kathy to be honest, she gaslighted me. I told her directly that cheating would end our relationship for good, but she kept going with the affair, putting herself in even more denial and making the mental fog last longer. There was so much lying that it almost made me laugh. Even though I had no proof that she was cheating, I felt bad that I hadn't taken even one picture of the two of them together. I knew I wanted to leave this marriage as I was going through this deep mental pain. I didn't tell Kathy how I felt about things right away. Instead, I began making plans. During the time she was at work, I started sneakily moving my things from the apartment to the trailer. At least this made me feel like I was doing something. During this time, I did notice that Kathy had changed. She has been nice to me, but I think it's too little, too late. As she kept going on her little group outings after work, I figured I needed a break too. In fact, I got dressed around the same time she did, just as she was leaving for the night. She asked me where I was going. I just told you I was getting together with some friends. As soon as she asked, I told her, you don't know them, and you wouldn't enjoy all the shop talk. When I asked her if I could go with her on one of her work trips, she would always say this. Okay, have fun, she said with a sad look on her face. I replied, yes, I will. Working on the trailer and hanging out with Rai at the bar helped me make more friends. The situation led to some fun times with Rai's interesting group of friends and family. To keep a good balance, I decided to drink less and avoid potential problems. Around this time, Kathy mentioned a work trip the following week. When I asked who was going, she said the senior team and a few department heads. With a look I told her, I hope you have a great time with your boyfriend. That sparked a lot of arguments, and I wished I hadn't said it. Rai later told me that in the long run, it doesn't matter who the other guy is. The only thing that counts is that she walked out on me, destroying our marriage. Facts are facts, brother, Rai said. He should really write all of this down for those who've been hurt. When Kathy left for her business trip, I took the opportunity to move the rest of my things out. I packed all my valuables into my car, leaving behind furniture and personal items, taking only what I needed, like clothes and work tools. Instead of the long note I had planned, I left a short one on the kitchen table with my wedding ring on top. I hope it was worth it. It felt like a huge weight was lifted off my shoulders. I felt free, no longer hiding the truth. I know I'll have to deal with some things and get over some hurts, but now I have time to heal. I just need space and for her to leave my life quietly and quickly. I'm not proud that I never confronted her or got her to admit anything. I never got to yell or swear at her. In the end, I decided she didn't deserve me. She disrespected everything we had and our future plans are over. We were saving for a home and a family, but there's no turning back now that they're all gone. I owe her nothing. She can handle the fallout on her own. I didn't plan anything, like calling a lawyer. I just wanted to make things clear. I loved my new trailer, and the mountain air was exactly what I needed. The next week, I started running again, and it felt great to be alive. Kathy sent me texts while she was away, but I never responded. They were mostly just updates like, we just landed, or having a team dinner, along with a few asking where I was and wanting to hear from me. The day she came back home, my phone was flooded with texts and calls. Her mother even tried reaching out after the first day, but I ignored the voicemails after the initial crying messages. Her texts were all over the place. What is this? We need to talk. I don't know what you think you know, but there's nothing going on. I'm not involved with anyone, and I'm not having an affair. After a week of silence from me, she finally texted, I'm sorry, things got out of hand. I was involved with someone at work, but it meant nothing. I got caught up in my work, and with you being away I made a mistake. I was going to end it. A mistake? This was the confession I'd been seeking, but it only made me dislike her more. Why couldn't she just be honest? This wasn't the person I'd imagined building a future with, and mistakes don't last for months or even a year. At some point, her pleas for me to come back and fix the marriage became pitiful. She stopped trying for a couple of weeks, and I kept ignoring her, not wanting her to find out where I was. Then one day, she started sending furious texts, calling me a coward, saying I didn't care about us, and begging, please come home so we can talk. Where are you? I can come to you. Damn it, Paul, let's talk and fix things. I barely paid attention to the messages, as they were mostly excuses with little apology. Eventually, I changed my phone number. Update, June 2018, Kathy emailed me, saying she had hired a lawyer and was filing for divorce. I replied, okay, sounds good. Which led to a barrage of emails demanding I see her. She soon realized that wasn't going to work and offered an uncontested divorce if I agreed. I did, and months later, I was finally free. We never saw each other after I left the apartment. There was no closure, but that seemed more important to her than to me. For a few months, I thought of her occasionally, and yes, the pain would resurface unexpectedly, especially when a song we used to listen to came on the radio. But eventually, I stopped thinking about her altogether. I'm happy to share that I'm officially divorced now, and life is going well. I've met an amazing girl while out on a run and we hit it off after I helped her with a flat tire. She's a few years younger, calls me her mountain man, and loves my lifestyle. I'm not rushing into anything serious, but I'm also not giving up on women. I'm still living in the trailer, with no plans to change that anytime soon. The outdoors have helped me heal from the heartache and move on from my ex-wife. I know everyone handles these situations differently, but I was lucky not to have children and to be only a few years into my marriage. My advice: don't dwell on it if you find yourself in a similar situation. Just move on and work on yourself. Life does get better. OP shared a brief update. I appreciate the supportive comments. Unfortunately, this story highlights a harsh reality with my ex. We haven't spoken directly since the divorce, though she occasionally emails me. While I've been tempted to reply, I haven't. About 3 weeks ago, a mutual friend mentioned that Kathy isn't doing well, unlike me. Apparently, she considers me the one that got away and would try to win me back if given the chance. I didn't dig for more details, but I do have some information I'm hesitant to share. Now, the big update. Is my ghosted ex-wife tracking me down? As I mentioned earlier, I was worried she might try to find me. I moved about 2 hours away, and last weekend I saw her at a coffee shop I frequent. I'm suspicious it wasn't a coincidence, but luckily, I left before she noticed me. Update: last weekend, I went back to town for groceries and a coffee at my usual spot. After working on some documents using their free internet, I left the coffee shop and headed to my truck. Suddenly, I heard my name. Paul. I looked across the street and saw Kathy, my ex, waving at me. My heart sank. It felt like the end of the world. I froze as she ran toward me, but I held my arms out to stop her. She looked hurt and said, "Paul, I've been looking for you. I thought you moved out here, so I came to see you. Can we talk?" I felt trapped, but I agreed to talk for a minute, suggesting we find a table. When she asked if we could go to my house, I said no. We sat on a bench outside a small store, where she started complimenting my appearance, my new look, beard and fitness. She looked great herself, wearing a tank top and short white pants, with her hair in a ponytail like I used to like. I could tell she was trying to appeal to me, but I stayed focused. She apologized for the affair, admitting that karma had hit her hard after I left. Her boss found out about the affair, making the work environment unbearable, leading her to quit. Her affair partner got in trouble and was transferred to another position in the company, which led to the end of his engagement when she confessed the truth to his fiancée. Kathy began to cry, saying she never intended to start an affair but felt drawn into the company's politics and power dynamics. She believed the AP manipulated her with his charm and influence, and she foolishly thought she was using him too. She was going to confess to me, especially after I confronted her about the affair. She felt terrible about herself during that time, and drinking after work was her way of coping with the guilt. After I left, she broke up with her AP and decided to find me, hoping to make things right and start over, even though we were no longer together. Looking at her and talking to her is a rough synopsis of what we discussed. "You jerk, you can't just come out here and think you can fix everything you did wrong. Should I ignore everything you did to ruin our marriage? I told you we were finished if you cheated. Forgiveness is impossible. This friendship won't resume. You killed. Stepping out on me ended our relationship. Do you consider me stupid? You entered a motel one night while I watched. Know that? I realized then that people were hearing me yell." She cried. My arm was taken. I let her cry on my shoulder before removing her. She regarded me. "I deserve everything." "Yes, I do. Please let me take you to dinner." Refusing to go. "Want to chat more?" "I want everything to be clear." "Paul, I love you so much." She warned. "You may not want to hear this. You broke me and showed me how much I loved you till you left. Both broke horribly. I can't forgive myself. And I don't want to forgive myself until the day I die." She began hyperventilating and sobbing. I held her to make her feel better since I thought that was the only way to assist. That's when I understood I broke her heart as she broke mine. Things calmed down when we reached a quiet road on our walk with her. How did she find me? Did she use a private eye? No, she thought about it, she laughed. She asked Stacy how she was doing when they saw each other weeks ago. Stacy reported seeing me. Kathy made her say everything. I told Stacy not to tell her, but she wouldn't let her go until she did. But she only knew that she saw me in town and that I live close, so she came here on her days off to find me. She flushed as she said that. That damn Stacy can't keep her trap shut, I laughed. We ate dinner. A charming terrace was located. We didn't drink because I made sure. She shouldn't be able to use being too intoxicated to drive back to change my mind. We had a meaningful conversation after discussing our feelings. As I led her to her car, she kept saying she wanted to remain, even though she hadn't seen anyone else since I left and only wanted me. I graciously declined. I felt too early to rewrite that chapter. She asked to see me again, but I wasn't sure. I did nothing else. I gave her my new email. "No, you'll just blow it up with texts and calls," I warned her when she requested my number. She cried over that. She mentioned she would be in town next weekend if I was interested. I only didn't say that. She promised to email me when and where everything was. I asked her straight out if she would forgive me if I had cheated. She paused, then said yes, but only if we went to marriage counseling or had extensive talks, maybe even a binding agreement to heal. I considered her offer and told her I might be open to getting back together in 5 or 10 years. She agreed to wait if needed, and while holding my hand, she looked deeply into my eyes and said, "God damn it, Paul, I will always love you and will do anything to prove it." Then she left. I'm still shocked by her words, but I don't want to be with her again. I feel better now, but she's not even a friend with benefits to me. Maybe just a friend. But I'm doubtful we could ever reconnect. Don't call me a chump. I rarely believe in second chances. That night, I went for a long run and had a few beers, feeling good afterwards. Could someone guarantee she won't mess things up? I'm not sure, it's still too fresh, but I have time to process it. Moving on to the second update. I think this will be my final one. My story was shared on Reddit, but the mods kept taking it down. In short, my ex-wife found me and we talked after more than a year of me ghosting her. Her goal was to reconcile and start over. Those who thought I would forgive her and get back together will be disappointed. She recently sent a long email, expressing love and regret for the affair, and suggested visiting for the weekend. I firmly declined. I'm content living alone in a remote area and plan to keep my life simple. I've enjoyed the company of a few women and friends, and at 32 I see no reason to change things now. I have a plan for my life and I intend to stick to it. In my reply, I didn't give her my new phone number and made it clear I have no intention of reconciling. I don't trust her or know her anymore. I wished her well and left open the possibility of friendship, just maybe someday, in a future I haven't yet considered. She got angry at my vague response and made her intentions clear. She was upset by my answer but revealed that she had accepted a job offer in a different state and hoped I would go with her. Knowing I could live anywhere due to my remote job, she thought I might be interested in a fresh start together in a new place. She wanted to meet in person to make her case, but luckily, I had to leave for work for a week, giving me the perfect out. Now, she's out of my life. I expect a few more texts, but eventually, she'll realize it's over and move on, maybe even cheat on the next person. Sharing this update, I encourage everyone to live their best life, move on from the past, and stay strong. After getting numerous update requests, here's the latest. I finally had enough of her emails and told her I was done, urging her to find someone else who cares. I aimed to make her mad enough to leave me alone, and it worked. No contact for days now. I blocked her email and might even close my account if she tries to reach me another way. Thanks to everyone who encouraged me to take action. I'm firm on cutting ties with her. As for the girl who called me Mountain Man, she's eager to see me, so we'll meet over the holidays. Also, I recently met another nice woman, and I'm going on a date with her this weekend. Life is good. Fourth update. 2 months ago, I ran into my ex at the airport, where she mentioned my Reddit posts. I'm not sure how she found them, but a mutual friend shared the link. I thought I could trust him, but I've since cut ties. I'm now making it a rule to distance myself from negative people and drama. If this causes her to pull away, that's fine with me. I've already moved on. It's great to hear that you've moved forward and are living your best life. Overcoming challenges can be a powerful catalyst for personal growth, and I wish you continued success and happiness in all your endeavors. Sharing your story might help others reflect on their own actions and make positive changes. Thank you for sharing your journey, and may your future be filled with joy and fulfillment. To clarify, everything between the main story and the last update took place over a 2-year span. Now, let's dive into some comments before we wrap up. One user shared a story about a friend who went through a similar situation. His friend was engaged, not married, and ghosted his fiancée after discovering her affair. She fell into severe depression and spent months trying to apologize to everyone involved. Eventually, they reconnected, and after 2 years, they got back together, now re-engaged and happy. The friend's redemption journey involved seeing him with other women and answering tough questions, which helped them reconcile. OP replied that this wasn't the path they would take, but they were glad it worked out for him. Another commenter appreciated the story, saying that if their partner ever cheated, they would only consider reconciliation if similar efforts were made. Another comment pointed out that cheaters often don't realize the grass is dead when cheating with another cheater and praised OP for doing the right thing. And that's a wrap for today. Don't forget to like and subscribe to stay updated. Until next time, take care. Bye. Thank you for watching. If you haven't subscribed yet, please do so and hit the notification bell to stay updated with more shocking real-life stories happening around you.